Welcome to Your Future Starts Now, the go-to podcast for extraordinary women who are ready to step into their next chapter with authentic confidence. I'm your host, Gia Lacqua, empowerment coach, motivational speaker, children's book author, and girl mom. Whether you're a corporate powerhouse or an entrepreneur, this show is designed for you. Your Future Starts Now is more than just a podcast. It's a movement towards rewriting the rules of success for high-achieving women. Are you ready to get unstuck and step into your next chapter? If so, you're exactly where you need to be. Your future starts now. Welcome to Your Future Starts Now. I'm your host, Gia Lacqua. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I am so excited to introduce you to Michelle Choairy. Michelle is a mom of a complex kid. She has been her son's best advocate and has learned through the years what it takes to get the best care for her child. She's the founder of Collective Wisdom for Complex Kids, a support group for mothers with children with disabilities. She has a passion for helping families reevaluate and prioritize their dynamics, along with guiding them from the confusion to clarity while raising complex children. Michelle, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here today.
Oh, thank you so much, Gia. It's so great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn more about you. So just so our listeners and our audience can know more about you and kind of the work that you do, tell us a little bit about your background and, what led you to the work that you're doing today.
Sure. Like I said, I'm a mom of a complex kid. And when you have a complex kid, you know that you have a complex kid. So I've been doing, I have a son who's 10 years old and he has a genetic disorder. It's called TBR1. He is one out of 200 in the world at the moment with this genetic disorder.
Wow.
So for the past 10 years, we have been trying to find the answers, trying to give him the best that we could give him, to try to figure out how to get him to be the best person and the best child that he can be and have the best life. So I've gone through so much, all the ups and downs that a mom that has a complex kid probably understands. And one day I decided that there are so many moms and dads out there that are so lost when it comes to this, and they don't know where to go. And they are probably going through what I went through. And I wanted to come in and help them. So Collective Wisdom for Complex Kids came about, and this is what I'm doing now. And I am so happy that I'm able to help these mamas and these daddies. So
that's incredible. And so tell us a little bit about Collective Wisdom. So I know you said it's a support group and it also includes coaching services.
Yes. So Collective Wisdom, right now, it's me, and I bring in a lot of outside providers to actually give webinars and information, and they are part of my support group on Facebook. So if the parents come into the group, they are able to get the services and the answers that they need through these specialists that we have that are helping. And then if they want one-on-one coaching with me, which is with sit down, we prepare, we make a plan for them, and we, space it out, and we make it so they can create that path to becoming their advocate, their child's advocate. So that is what I'm trying to do. And so Collective Wisdom came in because it's a collective thing. It's not just me. You have speech therapists, you have behavioral therapists, you have occupational therapists, everybody that's coming in to help the parents become the advocate that they should be.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense. And that's so beautiful because I think there are a lot of resources out there, but it is hard to pinpoint which ones you need and at what time. So, I love how you're sort of bringing that together to support parents who are in that space. Now, it sounds like your son has a very rare genetic condition, but the reality is that 1 in 5 children in the US ages 3 to 17 has a mental, emotional, behavioral, or developmental disorder. So that is 20% of kids.
Isn't it incredible?
It is.
And let me tell you that the statistics on that is even like for the people that don't know what they're doing, it is probably about 60% of them have no help,
Yeah.
and no help coming from anywhere, like from the school districts or even the doctors. Sometimes you go to a doctor and the doctor doesn't even know how to help you. So
Mhm.
these statistics, it just gets worse when you get into that 1 out of 5. You go down to 80% of that one is they have no idea how to care and how to give them the best care for their child.
Mhm. Yeah, it's incredible. And so I think for a lot of families, and let's talk about, I mean, our audience is high achieving women. So let's talk about the
Hmm.
moms for a second. There, I think to your point in the work that you do, you sometimes we have a diagnosis or sometimes we have a partial diagnosis that we're working with. And sometimes we don't have a diagnosis, but we have that gut feeling that something is off, right? Something is different. And but we're not the experts, right? So it's hard to pinpoint. Talk to
Hmm.
us a little bit about that space and any advice that you have for women who are in that place.
Sure. I call it the mama gut,
Yeah.
right? You have that mama gut. You know that there's something there, but you really don't even know where to start. And usually for me, that started when he was about a year and a half old. We could tell that something was starting to not quite go the way that it was supposed to go, right? So, for the moms out there that are going through this, the best piece of advice that I can give you is that if you have that feeling inside of you, go looking for help. And the reason is because early intervention with children is the best thing that you can do and will create the best life for them in the future, because their little minds are moldable. They're still able to learn
Mm.
and they are able to grow and become the best that they can be if you intervene early enough.
Mhm. Yeah. And then I think, you brought up a really good point too, to say that not all of the traditional medicine doctors are trained in diagnosing and certainly not treating all of these different conditions that we are now seeing and experiencing. So, a lot of times, and I've had personal experience with this. Not necessarily there's no malintent behind it, but there's almost a dismissal of concerns at times, right? I think that's very common for women in general, but then that extends to women and their children. Yeah, so what are your thoughts on that?
I'm so glad you brought that up, because for the first few years of this madness, trying to figure it all out, you go to a physician's office, they look at your child and they go, okay, yeah, there's a little bit here, maybe go try this, or
Mhm.
maybe go see this person. Really, like, you don't know what is going on. They don't have a you know a diagnosis for you. And then on the other side, you have the family that's coming to you and going, oh, they're going to outgrow it. It's going
Mhm.
to be fine. Don't worry about it. And that is the biggest, the worst, most dangerous trap you can fall into as you're going through this, because of what we talked about, early intervention. So we dismissing that, and it's almost like that mama gut comes inside of you. You feel like there's something. And then there's these people thinking and telling you you're crazy. There's nothing. It's going to be okay. And all of these things coming to you, you're like, I know there's something here. And you really, really, truly feel like you are going crazy. crazy. So don't listen to those people. That is the
Ah,
one.
if there's one takeaway from this episode.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so true because we do have those messages that are coming from, professionals. Sometimes it's the doctor,
Mhm.
well-intended family members,
Yes.
friends, right? Colleagues that, don't understand the situation, and they certainly don't have the perspective that you have. But
Mhm.
very common to hear, it's fine, it's nothing, he'll grow out of it, she'll grow out of it, which is very dismissive. And so I love that, mama gut concept and tapping into it and really tuning into those feelings that you're having if it is coming up for you. And then, working with the right, I guess, support network to figure out, what your next step is and where to go for support or help. So talk a little bit about, I know you talk about this in the work that you do, the support network, if you have a complex child.
Sure. So my whole body of work, it's I called it Thrive.
Mhm.
And there's 6 steps that we go into that are basically what I ended up doing. I look back at what I did and I said, okay, I need to put this in a way that moms and dads can understand and they can reproduce this, right? And so we go through these 6 steps, and T is teamwork. It's actually bringing in a team together. And like that is one of the most important ones because you have to have a medical team around you that knows how to take care of your child. And they will become the advocates for them in the future too, because you're going to need that team that will be writing letters to the what comes into the H, which is the helping systems, which are your school districts and your insurance companies and your state funded programs that you have to be able to tap into. There's just so much to know, and those are just a couple of the steps that we go through.
Mhm.
There's many others, but those are just the main ones that in the beginning you have to kind of understand how to deal with them. So
Mhm.
I teach that. And then we also have the speech therapist, the occupational therapist, that they come in, they do webinars, they talk about different types of speech therapy and all of that. And they are part of that teamwork.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's an important piece because it can be lonely. It can feel lonely, not having
Yes.
the right support network in place, both on the professional side and then, I think based on the work that you do, also that personal side of connecting with
Mhm.
like-minded parents who are experiencing similar challenges in life, right?
Yeah. Gia, it takes a village.
Yeah.
It truly, truly takes a village to do this. The one thing, if there's a mom out there that's listening to this, just trust me, you're not alone.
Mhm.
You are not alone. There are so many of us out there that we are going through this, and you are not crazy. And that is what my group and we are here for, is to give you that support and give you that community that sometimes you are left behind because you have that complex child that the majority of your friends and family, they just don't get it. They
Mhm.
just don't get it. But
Yeah.
we get it. We
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. And
Yes.
it's so important to tap into other people who get it, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. There's
Yes.
a lot of value there. So in the families that you work with, in the, I guess, the moms and the women that you work with in particular, what are some of the challenges that you see them struggling with, in addition to getting the right support and advocating for their child, but on a more personal level, what are some of the things that come up for them that you see most often?
Man, we forget all about ourselves, and
Yeah.
self-care is out the window. Like,
Mhm.
you put yourself into this child, you put yourself into this world in a way that, because let's be honest, we're high achieving women, right? That's who I'm talking to right here in your world. And yeah, I'm one of them. I've worked in the corporate business for many years. And what do? We want to fix things. That is our goal in life. We want to fix, we want to be successful, we want to show the success. And so we put all of ourselves into this and we forget all about us. And so self care, even I talk to some of my moms, like but I have 4 kids, I have all of these things, I work full time. Where am I going to find time to take care of myself? Where am I going to find time for? And I say, if you can't do anything, not even 5 minutes, just stop and like take a break, then pull over on the side of the road, take 10 deep breaths. That will be your self-care for the day. Even if you don't have time to do anything else, just take those 10 deep breaths, because that is the minimum that you have to do for yourself in a
Mhm.
day.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
self-care is a big one, right? When you're managing all these other responsibilities, right? And then your focus is on getting the right support, making appointments, going to appointments, right? Doing the work,
Mm-hmm.
the research, right? Reading, researching, talking to people, finding the right experts. There's so much of a mental load in addition to the physical and the emotional exhaustion, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
to your point, we don't make the time and the space for ourselves, which is so critical.
I always think of the airplane, right? You go in and they say, hey, you got to put your oxygen mask on before you put it on your child. And
Yeah.
that is true,
Yeah.
because if you're not well, your child's not going to be well.
Yeah.
I've noticed that through the years, through the ups and downs of having a complex kid, my marriage was very, very challenged, if I can use that word.
Sure.
And if we're not well, then our kids are not going to be well, and especially your complex child. So it is important to come together, not just yourself, but your family together too. That's a whole other part that you have to bring in, because the whole family needs to learn a new dynamic, a new different kind of lifestyle when these things are happening, and you
Mhm.
you have to deal with it. So,
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a great point because it's not only how you are able to show up for them, but it's also the energy that you're giving off, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, it's an important component. Talk to
Yes.
us a little bit about, so I can imagine the range of emotions and feelings that come
Hmm.
up for parents who are in this stage going through diagnosis, getting treatment. Not to mention the fact that there's still stigma
Hmm.
around mental health, behavioral, developmental disorders. So talk to us a little bit about how to manage through some of that and what you see in the work that you
Yeah.
do.
I'm going to tell you a quick story because I like to tell stories, and I think that this is an important one. My son is 10, my daughter is 7, and we were invited one day to one of my daughter's friends' family's house, and we were going to have like this big, you know, pool party, and we were going to just spend a day and kind of, just enjoy ourselves. And it was about 5 families that we pulled together, and we were invited by this this woman that was the mother of one of my daughters. And of course, we had a meltdown in the morning. I'm getting everything together. We're going over. They live pretty close to us. So I told the kids, let's just take our bikes. I live in Huntington Beach, so we bike everywhere. So we took our bikes over to the house, and we got there, and it was a beautiful home. And there were they were the moms and the daughters of friends of Rio's. And we got there and everything was great. We were talking, we were enjoying ourselves. And then my son gets up, and it's granted, this is a bunch of girls because the majority of them were girls. And he takes his pants down. And I was like, oh, this is not happening. This is not happening. But it was happening. It was happening. So I had to run. I had to go. And even though they knew that about the struggles we were dealing with, after that, we were never invited again. And so it was such a blow to me. And I really tried to shield my daughter from it. So we just kind of started going to with other people. And really what I found was that the support you need a supportive family, supportive people, supportive friends around you that understand you. If they don't understand you, if they don't understand the dynamics of having a complex child, they can have all of the empathy in the world for you, all of it, but they just don't understand. So you have to create that village in a way of people that understand and that have, in a way, either gone through it or have seen somebody else going through it. Because really, it was so obvious. It was so obvious to us.
Yeah. That's so unfortunate. Thank you for sharing that story, though. I feel like, unfortunately, that's probably not uncommon.
Mm-mm.
You know?
Yeah. For years we couldn't go to restaurants, right?
Yeah.
Because he would
Sure.
melt down. And then we isolated ourselves because how can we go to a restaurant with a family or other families or whatever? So isolation happens a lot when you have this. And that's why I'm always saying, you're not alone, Mama. You are not alone.
Yeah, I love that. And I also think that, when we're in the trenches in this space, focused on, rightfully so, kind of the present moment, the here and now, getting through, the next day, week, month, year. Any advice that you have for our listeners who are thinking about, okay, my next steps, short term, but also long term, big picture, when you step back and think about, where my child is going to be when they're 18, where they're going to be as an adult when they're 25 or 30? Right? It can be daunting and very overwhelming, but do you have any advice or thoughts, for parents who are in that struggle and thinking about, like, what's the best thing I can do for my child long term?
This is one of the parts of my whole spiel to mamas: celebration of every small moment. You have to jump up and down and really, really take that in, every little thing, every small advancement that they make. My son the other day came home and he said, Mama, I can say Chewbacca. And do you know, because he couldn't say Chewbacca,
Sure.
the B wouldn't come out.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, you can say Chewbacca, and we just threw a party.
Wow.
It's such a small thing, like Chewbacca, of all the words in the world that he would be practicing in speech therapy. That was the one he picked for it, But oh my gosh, you can put the B in the middle. This is amazing. Celebrate those moments, because you cannot look in the future. You don't know what they're going to be like. You don't have a crystal ball. I don't have a crystal ball. We don't know. But what we do know is what is happening at that moment. Yeah. And that is your strength. That is how you are going to get that strength to continue to go on for 15, 25, 35, whatever years that are
Yeah.
going to come.
For sure. That's so beautiful. And it's, he set a goal for himself and he achieved that goal. So it was monumental for him, right? Just like any
Yes.
of us, we set a goal, we achieve it, we should be celebrating it. So I love that, celebrating even the smallest wins and victories for them, I think is
Yes.
great advice. Michelle, this is so fascinating. Any other takeaways or advice that you want our listeners to do after listening to today's episode who might be struggling with a complex child?
Mama, you're not alone. There is a village out there that you will find if you are proactive with it, if you are looking, if you are searching for it. And let me tell you, you need it. You need that village. You need to take care of yourself. So please, please go search for that. Don't isolate yourself because it's not worth it and you will not survive.
Yeah. It's great advice. I think especially as high achieving women, so often we feel like we have to do everything on our own too. So sometimes asking for help, reaching out can
The
be
village.
really hard.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's great advice. And
Yeah.
Michelle, we talk a lot about success and redefining success on this show. So I would love to know from your perspective, how do you define success? And tell us a little bit how maybe that's evolved for you over time.
Oh my gosh. So coming from the corporate world, right?
Yeah.
Hitting quotas and getting a new surgeon to use your device. That is what I based my success on. And now it's about my family. It's about my 10-year-old. It's about my 7-year-old. That is success to me. It's having a family who they know that I'm here for them. They know that I'm going to bend over backwards for them and that I am their support. I am their mom. Having the time to spend with them and to be able to give them the tools for them to become successful in the future, that is success to me.
Amazing. I love that. And where can our listeners learn more about you and the work that you do, Michelle?
Yeah, they can. I am everywhere under wisdom number 4 complex kids. So it's wisdom number 4 complexkids.com, wisdom number 4 complex kids on Facebook, Instagram, everything. So just find me. I'm there. You can also search under my name. And I would love to be a part of your village if you are in need.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I want to thank you for being here, for sharing your insights and your expertise. And of course, you can visit my website at gialacqua.com, reach out on Instagram at gialacqua. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. This is Gia signing off with gratitude for your time and energy. Our mic drops, but the movement continues. Until next time, your next chapter is waiting. Take care.
That concludes another empowering episode of Your Future Starts Now. Before we wrap up, I want to thank this incredible community of high-achieving women. Your energy, resilience, and commitment to growth are the driving force behind what we do. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate it, leave a review, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Your feedback fuels our mission to empower high-achieving women just like you. And of course, share Your Future Starts Now with the extraordinary women in your life who are also on a journey of healing and empowerment. Connect with us on social media, share your thoughts, let us know what topics you'd like to explore in future episodes. Stay connected on Instagram at gialacqua. I encourage you to carry the energy of this conversation into your day and keep on supporting the incredible women around you. Until next time, remember, your next chapter is waiting.